I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul shall make her boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof, and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. Hello, I'm Sister Brenda Shipp, National Superintendent of Sunday Schools of the Original Churches of God. Highlight of Sunday School Lesson, February the 6th, 2022. Lesson 10. Nathan condemns David. Text, 2 Samuel, 12th chapter, 1st through the 9th verse, 13th through the 15th verses. Devotional reading, John, 7th chapter, 40 through the 47th verses. People often see acts of injustice being committed. How are we called to respond when we witness unjust acts? Nathan sought God's guidance and received wisdom for how to address David's sin. Evaluate your fixation for power. You may ask some questions. In what ways might you be tempted to abuse power? How well do you take correction? Who among you, your closest friends, would be willing to hold you accountable? In the previous chapters of 2 Samuel, we see a campaign against the Ammonites. David sends an ambassador of sympathy to a neighboring monarch whose father had died. But the embassy is misunderstood and its members are insulted. In response, David makes war against the Ammonites and their Aramean allies. Instead of going with his troops, David remains at home, and his wandering eye for beautiful women gets him into trouble. David commits adultery with a neighboring wife, Bathsheba. When she becomes pregnant, David tries to cover up his crime by encouraging her soldier husband, Uriah, to sleep with her. When this fails, David arranges to have Uriah killed in battle and takes Bathsheba into his home. Nathan the prophet is sent to convict David of his sin, and the child he has fathered dies. So in the lesson today, God reveals David's wrong, and God reforms when we yield to him, and God redeems. God can only reform us when we yield to him, acknowledge his righteousness, and admit our wrong. By recognizing God's revelation and accepting God's reformation, we could now fully receive God's redemption. I have sinned against the Lord. These simple words are very difficult to say sometimes, but they are no less vital to the quality of our Christian life. We are not capable of living a sin-free life. However, we are entirely free from sin because of God's redeeming grace. Psalms 51 is the greatest illustration of confession. Do not take thy Holy Spirit from me. was David's prayer. But David began his prayer of confession. He said, "Be gracious to me, O God, according to thy loving kindness, according to the greatness of thy compassion, blot out my transgressions." David prayed, "Purify me with hyssop." Hyssop branches were dipped in blood and used to sprinkle it on the altar. David was asking God to sprinkle the blood of his grace on him. The blood of Christ covers us and keeps us all from sin. David pleaded to God to restore him to the fellowship that he once knew and enjoyed with him. The reason God loved to forgive us is so we can let others know that He is a forgiving God. He promises never to turn away anyone who comes to Him with a sin confession. Psalms 51:10 of David's prayer said, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of the salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit." Liberating lesson. Although David eventually was restored to favor with God, he had to endure the consequences of his sin. Here we have an example of what it means to be humble before God. Even as we retain prominence in other areas, the fact is that no one is exempt from the truth. Right is right and wrong is wrong, regardless of our station in life. Fortunately, God so loved the entire world that He gave His Son, so that those who believe shall not perish in their sin, but shall have everlasting life. Give me a clean heart, O God.